Okay, ladies and gentlemen, round 4 game. I'm playing Mr. Qureshi Mohammed Anwar from Pakistan, who is the editor of the Pakistan Chess Magazine. And after 2 days break, I was feeling a little bit better, but still not well enough to play sharp tactical chess, so I'm playing the Reti, developing my pieces and castling. My opponent's doing the same, and we have reached a well-known theoretical position, which is kind of a reverse Benoni. Up to here everything is quite theoretical, and now the main moves are a3 for white or d3. My knight a3 move is a little bit of an inaccuracy. Doesn't do any harm, but the knight doesn't have a huge future out where it's going. I was kind of imagining that it might sometime later, but it didn't turn out to be the case. Knight e5 is the normal plan in this position. I'm removing the knight on c6, which is a good piece, and releasing the bishop on g2 to roam the long diagonal and to pick up anything that might be left there unguarded. So now black needs to find a way to play e5 to protect the d4 pawn, and he does so by knight to d7. I remove my rook, and e5 is played. White, I couldn't see a reason not to play d3. Rook b8 is a little bit of a mysterious move, but white's kind of a little bit stuck for a plan here. So I played queen e2, and I can't exactly explain the move because it doesn't make any sense to me now either. But I don't know what's improvements to suggest. White has kind of misplayed the opening a little bit, to be truthful. And after knight c5, black is threatening to play bishop f5 and attack my weakness on d3, so black's position is already quite fine. So it's time for white to take drastic action, which I did with b4. Knight a4, perhaps knight a6, not swapping pieces is even better, because now after queen c2 attacking the knight, black does get the 2 bishops, well, one of the 2 bishops, and now, well, white has a little bit more space, so I was quite happy again. But here again comes another little inaccuracy. I think here I should play rook a to d1, defending the pawn with the piece which is not developed, instead of moving the queen, the queen's quite happy where she is, so. But queen b3 is not a terrible mistake. Now black plays b6, trying to play a5 to activate his bishop on f8. So, and especially black would like the c5 square at some stage, and the pawn on a5 to harass white over here on the queen side. So I lock the queen side down with b5, and also have the idea of playing my knight from a3 to c2, and then after the pawn goes to a3 to play knight b4, and if the bishop takes, then the a pawn recaptures, and I have pressure on the a file. Long-winded, isn't it? And otherwise, if black does not capture the knight on a5 when it gets here, then the knight can go to c6 or d5. But black's not going to hang around and wait for me to do that, and creates an unpleasant little problem. Queen d6 attacks my knight. My knight has to move to where it wanted to go anyway. But now queen g6. I don't have time for a3 and knight b4. I have to defend this pawn on e4. Bishop f1 is rather passive. Bishop e4 is, well, allows black to get rid of the bishop, and then to play f5 and attack white on the king side, and all the white squares, which are currently guarded by the white squared bishop, would then be a little bit weak. So I thought I'd defend it with the rook pawn, with the rook now. But after bishop g4, rook d2 is a rather serious mistake because of queen g5 attacking the rook. and the rook on d2 would have nowhere to go after it was attacked by queen g5. It would have to give itself up for the bishop, or white would have to play the kamikaze-like f4, destroying his own kingside protection and giving up at least a pawn in the process, if not more. So my rook can move, but my opponent then just went back to f5, tacitly proposing a draw after thinking a while and, well, not being able to concentrate terribly well for various reasons. I decided to go back to d1. One of the reasons is that someone had spilled a coffee cup that went all under the table, and poor David Smurden, our board one, was wearing thongs, so he wasn't very appreciative of it either. However, he managed to throw this lack of concentration off and win anyway, so he could concentrate even with coffee on his thongs. Myself, not having such strong young nerves, I found it a little bit more difficult and decided to just repeat moves. The arbiter at this stage was called because we had repeated 3 times, and one has to call the arbiter to certify the draw. But the arbiter wasn't able to quite express what he wanted. He wanted us to write a move, our next move down, and not play it. Both I and my opponent were obviously agreeable to a draw, but the arbiter wanted us to do it according to procedure correctly or something. So, but he expressed himself badly and told us to just make another move. So we just kept moving backwards and forwards until he was satisfied, and in fact around move 30, when you are allowed to agree at draws, he nervously said, okay, write down your result, and allowed us to actually make a draw in this position. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this presentation as much as I enjoyed making it, and we'll catch you for the next game. Bye bye, have a nice day.